Hi, Ina here, and I want to show you one of my newest journals. For this one, I used a real pretty book I found at a second-hand store, and although it is meant to look old, it is not an old book, so it's very sturdy and pretty. So on the cover, all I did, I added this little frame to cover up the title and this little embellishment to cover up the publisher. And of course, I added my own closure, which is basically just 2 buttons and a ribbon. And I like this closure because it gives the book some room to grow. Now, when I first saw this pretty cover, I decided not to sew my own signature in it, but rather to use the original pages. So I took out about 1/3 of the pages, and the rest of them I glued together in little packs of 5 or 6 pages each. So I have some really sturdy pages in here, but I did this mainly because I like a lot of tuck spots and pockets. I don't need that much journaling space, and I like the background to be very sturdy so everything glues together easily. So let's see. I added my own paper. I also found this envelope with a few of these ready-made die cuts, so they are scattered throughout. I added a little flower and a little ribbon here, and this button just secures the big button. And now, like in many books, the first pages were pretty empty, not a lot of print on it, so I left them pretty empty just in case I do want to do some journaling. There is some room. I only covered up the title here. There's a little metal key and a couple of little decorations here. This one, I think it covers up the date, little butterfly flower. There's a little paper clip, and I coffee dyed all the pages. Now, because these pages were pretty empty, and so was the next one, I didn't glue these together. So there are a few single sheet pages in here. Again, a little more embellishment. There's room left for writing. This was the original title page, the black frame, and I added the image, which came from a craft paper sheet. And here's my first tuck spot, a cute little tag. And all throughout the book, I have these images taken from a reprint of an old Victorian calendar. And there were lovely images. Some are rather small, some are a little bigger, and you will see them throughout. Here I added an envelope. It has an invitation to a concert on it. And again, one of these images. They're really cute. They're a little small, but very interesting. There's a lot of details. Some of the images in here and some of the little journaling spots are also taken from Happy Mail, different things I've been collecting over the last couple of months from fellow crafters who've sent me some of their stash. And there's a little quote. Simple page with some stamping. I did a little bit of stamping all throughout the book. I also find these neat 3D vintage embellishments, so there are a few of these around. Some keys, these were just cut out of another craft sheet. Now, when I decided what kind of paper I wanted to use in this book, I realized they were all just one-sided, which makes it sometimes a little difficult to make simple pockets because we don't really want to see the blank side. So I came up with some very simple folds, so the blank part wasn't really visible. Of course, the main thing in this book, the pages are all the original pages. So the first thing I did is cover up the original print. So you will see some pages I made pockets, some pages I just covered up the print and then added images and so on. So here's the little tuck spot. Now this particular one was made out of a corner of an envelope, and there are some other ones in here as well, also some bigger ones. And I covered how to make simple pockets from envelopes in another video, and you can find that in my iCards up there. So let me just quickly show you how I folded this one. Now I'm not much for measuring, so I kind of eyeball everything. So basically now this is just a scrap piece of paper, so it's not exactly the size I would need in here, but the size would vary anyway, depending what type of book you're working in. Basically, I cut a piece of paper to the right length to cover the print I had in the book, and then I pretty much cut the full length of the scrap paper to start with, because you can always shorten it. And then I just folded it over like this. You can see here. And then just glued this shut. In this case, I cut out a half circle with, I have a little, die cut. Just cut it out so you can get in there a little easier. And then I just glued this part on my page. So basically you get this little opening where you can add more pockets or decorations, and you get a little spot here to put something, like in this case, there's a little journaling spot in there. And I distressed the little opening here. You see just the little half circle shows the blank side, but that's all. Alright, so that was one pocket. Sorry, not package, pocket. There's a little butterfly. There's a little dress form. Nice little tag. Again, was one of those images taken from the calendar. And I kind of picked all vintage looking pages. Some are more brown beige, and then there are some colorful flower ones. Here again, I made a pocket with the help of an envelope, and there's a tiny little tuck spot here. And then these things came from an old calendar. They have these cute vintage illustrations. So I thought that fit nicely in here. And there's a little bit of bling and another one of these 3D decorations. And this is another one of those die cuts. They were bright green though, so I colored them with some metallic acrylic paints to make them match a little bit better. And here's another one of those pretty antique flower prints. It's from a craft sheet. Has a couple little journaling spots in it. And now this is of course super simple. Again, I'm using just a scrap piece of paper. This time you have to make sure you get the width right, and then let the length be as long as your paper is, and you can cut it after you did your folding. Now in this case, I just did a very simple fold up this direction. And again, as you glue it down on the sides, your pocket is double, so it's stronger. You have no blank spots, and this whole area gets glued to your page to cover up your print, so it makes for a nice sturdy pocket. So there's another one. And here too, I cut a little half circle out just to make it a little easier to get in there. Here I used a little doily, which I dyed with some spray for a little tuck spot. Another one of those little decoration, some little embellishments. And here I made a little door. Now this is super simple. That's just a rectangular piece of craft paper, which I folded in on both sides. This craft paper came this way, looking like old postcards. I really like that. And then I also made a little pocket again, using a piece of an envelope. And here are a couple cute little journaling spots. There we go. And I used another one of these 3D things as a little closure. And here's a little bigger image taken from the same calendar. A little bit of lace, another envelope, which also holds a couple little cute little journaling spots. There's a tag which fits right behind it. More stamping. This was, again, I think the end of a chapter, so there wasn't much print on it, so I left it pretty blank. Here too, but I did add a little pocket here with just some little cute little journaling spots, some are real tiny. And here I'm covering up a title. And this thing was actually 2 stickers. I had these black circle ones, and I had these lace ones, so I put them on top of each other. And there is a pretty little flower, which I dyed a little bit too. Oh yeah, and this came with a book, and so I have a page divider. Here's another image from the calendar, little embellishment. And then these were sent to me by someone. They're these very cute little vintage tags. Now here in this case I made 2 pockets. Now this one was a little tricky. Now I just kind of winged it. I didn't measure anything when I did this one. But when I thought about showing you how I did it, I thought it would be more helpful if there was a little formula. So basically I came up with this. If you want to make double pockets like this, you get a piece of paper which has the width you need and which is twice as long as the final pocket you want to create. So when you have this piece of paper, you first fold it in half, oops, and then you fold it in half again. So that creates 4 even parts, right? 4 quarters. So the first quarter you open up again, then you open the rest and fold it up to the first quarter like this. Now the rest of this you will fold in thirds. Again, I didn't really measure. You kind of can eyeball a little bit. If you give it a really good crease and you open it, you have them 6 even parts here. So what you do, this first part stays flat. You take the first 2 sections, put them together and fold them up. This would be your first pocket. Then you go count this one, then you go 1, 2, 3, then you take the next section again and fold it up as another pocket. And there you go. You have 2, let's see if I have some to put it in. Here we go. You have 1 here and 1 there. Now you might want to put little smaller tags in there. All you have to do is glue them shut on the side, and then of course this whole section glues to your page. So there you got 2, and you don't see the blank side, and the pockets are doubled so they're sturdy. So there's another way you could do it. Alright, and then this I cut out from the craft paper who had all those old postcards, and then I kept a couple of pages of the original book. This was actually a book on Greek philosophy, so it has some, they call it fragments, but it's like proverbs and things like that. So I left a couple of the pages, 3 pages like this, and here too is a little like a poem, so I left that as well. I just did a little stamping on here. And again, here I have a doily with a pretty, let's see if you can see it, there we go. This is a pretty little tag, another one of these lace and black circle stickers. And of course my doily has also some on the other side. Can you see? Like this, yeah. And here are 2 lovely ladies, and there are 2 little spots for a couple of tags. These were cute tags. They're linen and has a little glossy, little gold, fiber in it. They were just real soft and they wouldn't slide in very easily. So I had to strengthen them by covering the back with some craft paper. And this pocket is actually made completely from an envelope. Very simple. I glued the envelope shut. I glued it in the middle shut and then just opened 2 sides with my little punch to give just enough room for these to slide in, and then I glued the whole envelope down. So pretty simple. Again, some more images and a little bit of sequins here, and then another pocket. Again, this is made from an envelope. There's the doily pocket. Now this fold over here, which also has a little pocket here, it is very, very similar to the very first pocket I showed you. this one here, which is super simple. The only thing I did here, because I thought I might want to have the edge a bit stronger, because when you do it like this and you glue it shut, your edge is just a one paper here, a little bit thin. So I went ahead and I folded it over like this, and then I took a piece of the same craft paper and just glued it right on top here, and then again glued this shut just like I did on the first pocket. And that is how this was created. As you can see, I just added the little circle, but it gives you a little room here, and it's a little more sturdy, but it folds open just like the other one. All right. And here is a very pretty journaling card someone had sent me. And all throughout, I used little lace and little border trim. And there's one more lady and the little lace ribbon. And this is basically the last page. It again had the little words of wisdom, so I left them. And there are some rather empty pages. Again, nice for journaling. And I think there's 2 more for the same purpose. And then just another one of those little die cuts with a tiny little journaling spot right there. Another ribbon. Another little button, and yes, and that is it. So I quite enjoyed making this. I enjoy vintage images and so on, and I was able to give my little collection I had a nice place to be. So I hope you enjoyed this flip through, and I hope the little instructions how to make the pockets were clear and helpful. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.